Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a wall-mounted TV. So these wall mount kits are pretty standard, I would say. They give you everything that you should need. Now, this is a commercial building, so it's steel stud inside the wall. With it being steel stud, you can't screw directly into the studs. You need to use toggle bolts, which I do have. If it was wood, it'd be a lot easier. Just drill pilot holes and then you can screw the bracket on, but we'll have to make the slight adjustment in this case. So what we'll do now is we'll look at the setup that we have to work with, and then we'll do material and tools. Alright, this is our material list. So I have my wall mount here. TV wall mount. This is, I think they're all fairly similar. Nothing special about this one. And then we have our flip toggle. So this will go into the wall. You see the very bottom bracket here. So it'll go into the wall and then it'll hold on the backside of the wall. So for a commercial setup, you can't screw into studs. You actually need something to mount to the stud. So that's why I'm going to be using these. But what we'll do now is the tools list. Alright, this is our tools list. So I have my drill set, stud finder, cordless drill, hand tools, so measuring tape, pencils, level. This is all I need for tools for this job, so let's get started. Alright, this is our wall. So we have our outlet, our HDMI cable there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to mount this in the middle of the wall. So from the corner to the doorway is 13 feet. Now somebody already made a little center mark here. So I'm going to try to get the TV as close as I can to the middle of the wall so everything looks symmetrical. And I also want to be close enough where we can get the HDMI cable, which doesn't have any play. But like with everything else, you want to think a little bit ahead on how you're going to get utilities to whatever appliance or device that you're going to install. But with our center mark here, the next thing I'll do is I'll grab the stud finder and we'll locate the studs. Okay, so our center mark is here. More than likely the stud spacing is going to be 16 inches on center, so that's 16 inches apart. So steel studs are 1 1/4, not 1.5 inches like wood studs are. I believe this is the edge of the stud. So we'll make a mark there. Now I am going to take a drill bit and I'm going to drill a couple of holes to make sure that I'm actually hitting the stud, because you want to be in the middle for this. But I believe there's one stud here. Now because we have these boxes, more than likely one of these boxes is connected to a stud, which nothing actually lines up, but we'll go 16 inches over, and then we're going to check for studs again. Alright, now that I have a couple possible marks, because I don't really trust the stud finder, what I'm going to do is drill a bunch of holes through the drywall and we'll see if we hit the stud. So there's nothing here. I think the stud is over to this side a little bit. Alright, so this is our template. I took my level and then I made a level line. So guys, one thing that you need to keep in mind here, this template is about the same size as the wall bracket itself. So with this here, we need to be off to the side for this. So I have a mark here and a mark here. This is the center of our studs. So this can move back and forth within these holes a little bit, but again, like with this here, don't go too far over because then you're going to hit this. But now that I have this line here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my level. I'm going to plumb a line, so like this. So I'll make a mark down here. I'll do the same thing for the other side. That will be the center of the studs. And then I'm going to take a 1/2 inch drill bit and then drill these out for my toggle bolts. Alright, so I just realized everything here I've now done is no good. The toggles, because of the wood inside, I'm not going to be able to get those in the wall. The holes that I've drilled into the wood is too big for the bolts that is supplied with the wall mount. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move all these holes. I'm going to have to move them a little bit lower and then re-drill. Welcome to the world of things going wrong, but it's a fact of life. So we still have our centers. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, the kit says 13/64 is the hole that is needed. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to drill using a metal bit, all four at 13/64. I just want to punch through the steel stud at this point, and then I'll go through with a wood bit. Alright, with our holes drilled out now, we can grab our plate. And then we'll put our screws in. So I have a 1/2 inch socket, and what I'm going to do is just tighten everything up. And then make sure that you tighten it down by hand, and you don't want to over tighten because you're going to strip the wood out. Okay, it seems solid. Alright, I forgot to mention that there are arrows here, so make sure it's towards the top. We'll check our level. And we are level. Alright, so the next thing will be to get the bracket on the back of the TV. Alright, next we need to put our bracket on. So these have wing nuts that you can move these back and forth to line up your holes. Now, we have all these screws to choose from. So we need to know what the depth of these are to use the proper screw. So I'll just take a drill bit, put it into the hole, put my finger, and now I have a gauge, and then go through the screws to find out which one works, which it looks like it'll be these ones. But guys, make sure that the screws aren't too long because you can damage your TV, and also your install will be loose if they don't bite down underneath the screw head. So let's just test. Yes, that works. Alright, so this is our rear bracket. The screws go to the bottom, and then this will hook to the very top. So these wings can move. You just loosen off the wing nuts to get it where you want. So no, that is not going to work in this case. So once again, we have our holes, but now this is going to be a lot higher. So put your finger and it looks like these are the screws that will work. Alright, so I've hand tightened these down. And then with the cordless drill, these are number 3 Phillips. Give it a shake, that seems to be okay. Okay, this is our TV, so this will fit over the lip, and then these 2 screws will tighten in to the back. Okay, so you can see how the top is over the rail, and then the screws are in behind this rail here, and then we'll tighten up back here. And the last thing I'll do is just tighten these 2 screws. Alright, and that is our finished product. The TV is solid. It looks good. The cables all reach the power and the HDMI, so everything worked out. So what we'll do now is an overview of this job. Alright guys, so that concludes this job. So the first 4 holes that I did, I realized were not going to work. Because there's wood on the inside of the stud, the toggles, they go in horizontally and then they have to flip it vertically. Well, that's not going to work when you have wood inside the wall. It actually worked out better because I'd rather screw into wood than use the toggles for steel studs. But it wasn't something I was prepared for. There were also 2 layers of drywall, which I wasn't prepared for either. And that's what... Maybe that is why my stud finder was telling me stuff all over the place. But I cut a couple slits into the wall just to verify where the center of the stud is. Make sure that you're hitting pretty darn close to the middle of the stud, because if you hit the side of the stud, just over time under the weight, the bracket can become loose. And the worst case scenario is that the TV falls to the ground, and then if it breaks, it's no good anymore. The time on this job. The time without the first 4 useless holes that I did, this job would take me about an hour. I mean, for the most part, it's relatively simple, but there are challenges that come up, like it happened in this case. The cost of this job. The mount was $75. The toggles would have been $10, but I didn't need them. So the cost of this job is $75. These mounts aren't expensive, but make sure that you screw into something and it's nice and solid so it carries the weight of the TV. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope something here is going to help you on your project when you need to go ahead and do that. Guys, till next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.